Hey everybody, Evan here, owner of Arcadian Landscape, and I'm going to tell you guys about this awesome backyard that we built. This yard was first a big slope of soil, and the client wanted to make it usable. So he came to me because I have this solution. Come check it out. First, we started with this bottom area. We made these timber steps. If you can see, these timber steps are pressure treated lumber, 8" by 8". And how we secured them to the ground was we drilled a hole and we took a piece of 2-foot rebar and we just pounded it down in there until it was flush with the top. We did that in about 3 spots along the length of the lumber. And then we filled in the middle of the steps with decomposed granite. Next thing we did, we installed this turf in between the flat areas of the steps. Bottom layer of the turf is class 2 base, compacted that. Then we put a nice thin layer of sand on top so we could level out the turf, rolled out the turf after that, and then we pounded in some 5" non-galvanized nails so they rust under the ground and they have a better adhesion that way. These lights were installed to help my client navigate around the yard during the nighttime. These are actually from Home Depot. Look at how cool, sleek, and black they look. They light up the ground around it and they're called pathway lights. They're all connected to the same low voltage transformer, and there's a timer on the transformer which allows it to go on whenever you want. The next step of it was to build this retaining wall. Right here you can see the cap of it only, but there was a lot of work to be done underneath, including the footings, leveling the first level of block, putting the waterproof behind the wall, and then stacking up all the blocks. And to carry all the blocks up that big slope took a lot of labor. Let me show you what it's all about. This wall that I'm sitting on all started with a 1.5-foot footing, 1.5 foot deep from the ground, I mean. And in the bottom of the footing is 3/4 inch crushed gravel so we could level out the bottom layer of blocks. Now that's the most important part, is to level out the bottom layer of blocks, because then every block that you stack on top of that is level itself. It's called a Keystone Stonegate block system, and this is a top of the line block by Keystone. They are connected to each other with little pins that you put in them. You can't see them because they're in the middle of the blocks, but that's how they're all stacked on top of each other. They're all sitting on little pins which connect the top of the block to the bottom of the block that's on top of it. After we got to this level, we put some waterproofing behind the wall to make sure no water intrusion got through the cracks in these blocks. Also, there's something called GeoGrid, which is this mesh stuff that you put in between the blocks and it goes back into the dirt, and then you compact dirt on top of it and it makes sure that this wall doesn't fall forward. The pressure of the dirt on the GeoGrid holds the wall back and it helps out with the stability of it. After all that's done, you backfill it with soil and you put the caps on. These wall caps are trapezoidal shapes and they are glued on the top of the wall with construction adhesive. In between the retaining walls are terraces that I made, which are planted with beautiful succulents and flowering drought-tolerant plants. Per code, the length of the terrace needs to be at minimum the height of the wall. So this wall is 3 feet high and this terrace is about 7 feet high. So that's a legitimate terrace. And then at the 7-foot distance, you can start building your other wall. So there's a series of walls right here, each 3 feet high, and these terraces are more than 3 foot wide. So this will pass code. Now, to transition from the staircase to the back door of the house was a little tricky. What we had to do is we had to take the measurement from the bottom of the back door to the top of the steps on the side of the house and divide it out to see how many steps were needed to get to the back of the house door. And to do that, we built a concrete staircase, a concrete patio, a stucco wall, and a nice cable wire fence. And that all is part of the design, which encompasses the transition that we need. Now, each of these steps are 6 inches high, and so we had to measure out how far back each step was gonna go so we could get that top pad to be 4 feet wide. So there were some precise measurements that we had to do. This pad that you see right here is a 4x4. As you walk up these steps, you get to the top pad, which is also 4 feet wide. And the client wanted that to happen so he could have a comfortable space to get at the top of the stairs, so he could feel like he wasn't smushed in there. This area is where the kids play. It's an 18-foot by 40-foot length of turf that's flat. Kids can ride the bikes, play the balls, do whatever you want to do, but this area is great for kids playing. Up there is where the parents can watch the kid. There's a decomposed granite a patio on top of that wall where you can put a fire pit there, sit out here, have a nice cocktail, watch the kids, and get a nice sunset. That deco boarding right there, if you can see that below the deck, it's called Deco Paneling by Out Deco, and it's being used to hide the view from under the deck. Because nobody wants to see all that nastiness under your deck that's unmaintained, but they do want us to look at the Out Deco board, which looks very, very nice. This here is the cable railing that keeps the kids safe from falling over the edge while they're playing on the grass. This cable railing has a rectangular cap to it, rectangular posts, which are 2 inches by 2 inches, and then these wires are spaced at 3 inches in between, going from the top of the railing to the bottom of the post. They're sunk in the ground with these lag bolts, which attach the bracket at the bottom of the post to the top of the wall. So it's very, very secure. This thing ain't falling over. You can lean over and enjoy the view.